in for push. Literally just had Wildfire pre-workout, ready to hit a juicy ass push session. I like push because I'm alright at it. More shoulder dominant today, so hit this incline press with chest, and then we'll move on to some more delt work and some tricep work. Yeah, so I've never used this machine before, so we're just doing feeler sets, the same principle as before. As we increase the weight, the load, we'll decrease the repetitions just to get a feel for it and prime our nervous system. So yeah, 2 sets on there. Normally I'll always try to do the heavier work first, so the 6 to 9 first, and then obviously do a backup set. But sometimes when you've got new machines, it's hard to gauge, so we ended up doing a 10 first, and then obviously for 5.5 plates for 10, and then 6 plates for the 6, which was about perfect to be fair. So sometimes if it's there, just take it. Really good machine, really nice angle, so that will hit the front delt and the upper chest. We're going to move on to more direct shoulder front delt work now. Yeah, obviously as we move through this session, my focus can normally before would drop, and obviously my strength would drop, but it's really good having Wildfire in there because the ingredients that are in there is going to keep my cognitivity, keep me focused on the session, and like the beta-alanine is going to allow me to have better strength. The caffeine is going to raise my strength, so it has everything on a holistic level to make sure that I can perform at the best possible chance really every time as we move through sessions. And obviously our strength can normally dip. It's impossible when you've got a Wildfire in there. So as you're listening there, I've added 4 plates. This is where a feeler set comes into play. The 4 plates is going to be too much for me to get the 6 to 9 repetitions because I can tell from how slow that first rep was. So what I'll do now is, if I didn't push it up to that, then I would have never known. So now I'll just drop it back, drop it to 3 plates, and that'll be around my working weight. Again, that's what feeler sets and feeder sets are for, to gauge the weight. Once you've got that weight set, you can then slowly progress it. As I say, I've not used these machines before, so when you're heading into a new gym or new equipment, it's just good to feel your way up to a working weight. Intra, 3 scoops of resilience. What it is, why I have intra? As you're training, you're replenishing glycogen, so utilising and using glycogen as an energy source. With this, with the cyclodextrin, it's going to replenish that. It's the same thing as the creatine monohydrate. So we use creatine monohydrates for muscle contractions. If we have creatine monohydrate and cyclodextrin while we're training, carbohydrates, then we're fueling our workout while we train. While we deplete them storages, we then obviously refueling them. It's going to spike insulin, so it's going to offset cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Obviously, as we train, we'll release that. It's not great for muscle protein synthesis. So then obviously, once we have insulin, we spike our own insulin. That's going to drive the aminos that's in here as well into the muscle as we train. So it's a perfect concoction, a perfect formula but while we're training, that's why we made it. So normally you would see me do the cuff laterals, but when we have access to prime, who's changed this fucking music, man? I've got like fucking Slipknot in this. But anyway, prime, you can load it from 3 different ranges, so we can make it heavier in the fully lengthened, we can make it lighter in the shortened, or we can put it on neutral, which my first set will be on neutral, which will be, the strength will be the weight will be all the way through the movement. So when I've got access to machines like this, I tend to favour this over just a straight cuff lateral. So with that set there, I changed the settings. So once I failed in the normal range, I then made it heavier in the lengthen range. And then once I failed in the lengthen range, I made it lighter in the shorter range. Just allows us then to move the weight to where we want it to do. When one aspect of the movement's failed, we can then make the other aspect lighter and then carry on. Yeah, so we've done side delts, hit side delts there. Now we're going to move on to chest isolation. So hitting the pec deck. I like to use the D handles on the pec deck. It just gives me versatility to where my hands can go, so I'm not in a fixed position. Just it makes it a little bit easier on the wrists. He's feeling this, are you? Yeah, so 2 ropes on the tricep extensions. That allows us, if we use 1 rope, we're here, so I'll show you. 1 rope is very restricted, so we can't fully extend. If we use 2 ropes, we get a full contraction, so we can go from here all the way back, rather than just putting the short there. So if you see in any of my videos that I do, it's all about fully lengthening and fully shortening the muscle to grow a muscle. This is what this allows us to do. Rather than doing short little reps, half reps on the tricep extension with a rope, we use 2 ropes to get a full extension. On one of my push rotations, which is this one, because I'm trying to bring up my back, so what you've got to do as well is you've got to distribute volume, so you can't just, if you're trying to bring an area up, you can sometimes, like I'm going to do now, is Cal's program will tag on some extra back work, some top up work. But what I've done there is I've taken out a few sets from my push session. So obviously accumulation of, say we've got 12 to 16 sets, we'll then take a couple of them tricep sets that I would do and add them to back, and we'll do 1 lat movement and 1 rowing movement, and that just then stimulates my back again, because I'm only going to train back. Today is Tuesday, right? No, Monday? Monday. It's Monday, I don't know what fucking day it is. It's Monday today. I'm only going to train back on Thursday, so that gives it enough time to recover, and obviously we're just doing some stimulation just to make sure that we're hitting it more frequently. This is a variation, so it's not actually a lat movement. We're doing this for an upper back movement. So I'm leaning back further and my elbows are wide rather than bringing my elbows close to my body to fully shorten the lat. I'm actually shortening my upper back.
So would you put this on every single push session now?
Yeah, so I have 2 rotations. So 1 push session is just all push, and then which is more medial delt, because that's what I'm trying to bring up. For me right now, it's just trying to create an illusion. And so if I can add ½ an inch to this shoulder and ½ an inch to that shoulder, keep my waist the same, then my waist looks an inch smaller, and that's why it's creating an illusion of being bigger than we are. It'll be classic, especially when you've got a weight cap. You need to be particular where you're putting the muscle and obviously creating that illusion. With this one is that Cal, like I said, Cal's pulled some sets from my tricep work and added the extra back for stimulus, because that's what we're trying to bring up. So on one session it'll be more delt work, and then this session will be more back work. So yeah, just finishing this session off with some rear delts. Obviously, rear delts, the straps tie into your back work. So I'm just going to tag some rear delts into this now. Another absolutely epic push session done. Little bit of top up on back. Hopefully you enjoyed that session. Hopefully you learned something from that session. Currently having post workout, even though it doesn't look the greatest. What we've got here is cream of rice, so like 160 gram of carbs from cream of rice, raisins, and then 2 scoops of ISO King. I tend to have ISO King post workout because it's low in fat. So what we don't want to have is high fats around the post workout, because it slows down the digestion of carbs. The goal now is to replenish glycogen, as we was doing with resilience during the session. We now obviously we have GLUT4, which is something that's going to drive obviously carbohydrates into the muscle. So we literally want to have as many carbohydrates as we possibly can now, as much as we can digest, as low as fat. So as you can see, we have low fat whey iso, cream of rice which has no fat in it, and then raisins, obviously a fruit, has no fat in it. So really low fat, really high carb, really complex, fast acting protein, but then also with a good amino base. So yeah, I'm gonna get this in. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember, click subscribe, give the video a like, head over to Rawr. If there's any products that you want to know about, please direct message me, and then also use my code, it's Rhino20. As I say, if there's any questions that you've got on any product or any just training, I can send you over the supplementation guide, which gives you a breakdown of everything, and also obviously any videos that you need me to send you training wise or training cues, just give me a direct message, guys. Thank you for watching. Let's enjoy.